And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the RSL, the Rival StarCraft League Season 2 2025 Korean Qualifier. We just wrapped up with our initial round of 16 match. Now we're here in the quarterfinals, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Pylon, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the returning player. We did already announce, of course, he retired quite some time ago, and we did point out that he did return a couple of days ago. It is NightMare. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get our gamba going. Now, coming into this, again, in my mind, I would favor Ryung. Ryung, he's a hyper-aggressive player in TvP, especially on 2 base, and we saw him warm up against Triple. Coming into this, I do lean towards Ryung, but at the same time, I'm also saying that because we don't really know the level of skill and the caliber of play that NightMare is about to show off, because he's been retired for so long. He's been away from StarCraft for so long, so it's hard to say kind of where he is currently, unless you're in the chat and you also watched the Wardy TV Summer Championship Qualifier number 4 from a couple of days ago, where in that qualifier, NightMare, he 2-0'd Hearthstone, he 2-1 Gumiho, and he went down to max spec, so he took a map as well. So those are really impressive results. Those are really impressive results from a couple of days ago. That was NightMare's first event back to StarCraft, back into form. And with that, I mean, things looking good. We might even favor NightMare. I said before, if NightMare can take down Gumiho, he can take down Ryung. For sure. Like, it's going to be within his capacity. Firstly, I'm hoping for an ace match. Regardless of how this goes, I want to see a back and forth. I want to see a game 3. But we'll see. So far, we have a double gas open out of Ryung, going for a faster factory, going for a delayed CC. NightMare back at home, likewise, going for a standard opener as well. Now, how ingrained in the meta is NightMare? I should emphasize that Gumiho is a very unique player, and it's possible that his series against Gumiho isn't really indicative of the current meta in TvP, of the current state of play, and of how other Terran players are approaching the matchup. That is true. Like, versus Gumiho is not the same as versus Terran. Not at all. Not at all. So NightMare coming into the ring here against Ryung, I expect to see double gas openers game after game after game, into 2-base play, into Cloak Banshee, into tank-based move-outs, maybe even a Ryung push, especially here on Pylon. That's kind of what we're expecting out of Ryung. NightMare, I would hope to see more defensive play. I'd hope to see like a 3-gate opener, double gas, robo before 3rd base. We'll see how greedy NightMare is going to be. As NightMare historically has typically been quite aggressive. Historically. So now Ryung does chase him down. NightMare holding his own. Zoning back Ryung. Does poke in. Overseas prods. Blink is on the horizon and is so far getting up to 2 gateways. No, should have goes 2-gate blink is what they can. 3rd gateway's on the way. So far, a relatively safe opener out of NightMare. Ryung opening up with a Mind Drop. So he has this initial Reaper Hellion for map control for ideally scouting and map vision. Likewise, we have the Mind Drop also setting up as well. Not too committed, only 2 with a Mind. So here we go. Does head towards the main. He's going to be making his way in. Likewise, at the same time, we'll see if Ryung can cause a distraction. Ideally, one distraction for the other. Oh, Mindrel comes in. NightMare does pull away in time. Does pull away. Ooh, we'll lose 1 Stalker, 2 probes. Reaper Hellion into natural, but the last NightMare is in position. So far, so good. NightMare holds. NightMare, he's holding on, but ooh, 1 Widowmine will be saved. Does barely go in, does barely save it. Behind this, Ryung, he does switch into Banshee and tank production, not into Stim. So this could be a Stimless move out, where you build up to 2 Banshees, build up to 2-3 tanks, then push out with Mass Bio. You can opt to pull the boys with this. We'll see how committed exactly Ryung is going to be with this kind of setup, whether he pushes or whether he harasses. Here we go. Here comes a move out. We did assume we were going to pull the boys. We do pull a couple of boys, only a couple to repair. And again, this is going to be a quote-unquote Beyond-esque move out. What I mean by that, no Stim, right? There's no Stim, there's no upgrades for the bio. We're pushing out with a hefty amount of tanks and Banshees. The Marines are here just to buffer. They're here to tank, they're not here to deal the damage. That's going to be relied upon here on the Banshee and the tanks instead. Banshee takes a lot of hits. Tanks are getting into the shield battery. But we're sieged up a little bit too far behind. Yeah, Ryung, he's slowly pushing forward. NightMare is buying time, forcing the early siege. Banshees are getting low. Now getting within range here of the gateway. Oh! Ooh. Yeah, the Immortal does move a little bit too far forward. The boys are here to repair. The Banshees are going to be focused down. It does have on the tank. He gets one. The other two are on siege. Yeah, they're on siege, but despite that, the Stalkers, they get punished. Yeah, Stalkers are punished. Tanks, they re-siege. Immortal went down. And he's breaking through. Ryung has to be careful. He's fighting out of range of the tanks. Yeah, Ryung here overextends. He's going to calm down. Takes out the pylon. Depowers the robo. Charge is on the way. Charge is almost there. Medevac does barely escape. And charge might be enough. Let's go. The feedbacks. Let's go. Yeah, slick moves there out of NightMare. Going for the feedbacks. Despite that, the boys are still here to repair. They top up the Banshees. Banshees, they back off, they drag the army within range. Tanks, they just get so much damage. And a third tank has arrived, and Ryung, he is breaking through. He's breaking through at this point. Behind this, getting a third CC. If he really wanted to, he could have just pulled the boys. He could just pull the boys and just commit to a 2-base all-in. He has been quite committed on 2 bases regardless, and he will break the natural. Yeah, the Nexus is going to fall. One Banshee may be targeted down. The boys are here. But Marines, they sidestep quite nicely. They take down all the workers, they take down the Stalkers, the Archon, the everything. GG gets called, and Ryung takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played again. Ryung doing Ryung things. We typically expect 2-base aggression out of Ryung, and he did commit to it here, going into early tank, early Banshee production, moving out pre-Stim. We saw that NightMare, unfortunately, even though he did quite well for himself when it came to defending against the aggression, when it came to defending against the harassment, he was not able to quite slow this down. He was not able to get on top of the tanks either. For a moment there, I thought that maybe Ryung was moving a little bit too slowly, but he was able to punish the blink. If you remember, when NightMare dove forward, when he dove on that first tank, he did get one, but he lost, what, 5 Stalkers in the process. He lost so many Stalkers for that dive. Was not worth it. And from there, Ryung did snowball out of control. GG. GG, well played. With that, Ryung takes the lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Now, what I will say as well, something that we did emphasize at the start of that game, was that we expected a 2-base all-in of some kind out of Ryung on Pylon, because it's Pylon. Pylon is a smaller map, has a shorter rush distance by ground. The maps do emphasize quite heavily kind of how players approach these matchups, how they approach these games, and what builds they go for. We do expect, and again, because they're just favored, they're bolstered, the map does favor that kind of play. But I would say the Pylon is probably the best map for 2-base all-ins, the best map for 2-base play, followed by Ultra Love. I feel like Ultra Love is maybe second in that regard. The other maps, though, that's where we expect something a little bit different. Up next, we're going to be loading into Maganatha. Maganatha is the largest map in the map pool. Massive, massive map. A lot of bases, a very wide map as well. Because of that, we could see some longer games. At the same time, because it's so large, this is where proxies are more viable, because there are more places, more locations to hide proxies, to hide a proxy starport, for example, to hide your initial proxy maxes, or to even hide your own proxy gateways. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Maganatha, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, returning after quite a bit of a hiatus. It is a NightMare. Here we go. Ooh, now a couple of things here. On the one hand, the map is large, the map is big, and because of that, this can lean towards longer games. Now there is a problem though, there is a caveat with that. If NightMare is too greedy, this is where, unironically, 2-base all-ins can excel on Maganatha. If your opponent is cutting too many corners, is being too greedy, is focusing too much on their economy and too much on the mid-game, then we have seen a lot of Terran players be quite successful with 2-base all-ins. Cure specifically, like, I can't remember the last time Cure played Standard in TvP on Maganatha. I've seen Cure pull the boys so many times on this map. Whether it was in EWC in the Esports World Cup, whether it was in GSL Season 1 finals as well, we saw a lot of hyper aggression out of Cure, and we've seen other Terran players follow suit on Maganatha. So that's also something you have to bear in mind, is that, right, on the one hand, yes, it's a large map, but if your opponent's too greedy, you can try to punish them. Meanwhile, do you see what I see? Single gas opener, which means faster CC. Okay, last game on Pylon, remember it was double gas into a faster factory. Here, faster command center. This is a more economic start, which again makes more sense on Maganatha. So we're going for a more economic opener. Meanwhile, NightMare across the map going for his own standard start as well. Everything looking normal, and we'll see if NightMare can actually get into his game. From the side of Ryung, he will have some options coming in towards that early to mid game here when it comes to how he wants to open up. He could go into Banshee play for Banshee harass, true, because the map is so large, we could see Cloak Banshees, and we could see them try to dip in, try to get some damage, could see some mine drops as well. As I mentioned before, 2-base all-ins are still going to be on the table. NightMare is going to be on the Protoss to make sure he gets an eye on whatever Ryung is up to. But now, Twilight Council. Twilight Council is our take of choice, so working towards Blink. We're expecting Blink. Technically, there are some builds where you can go Twilight Council into Charge, but that is more standard on smaller maps. On a map like Pylon, if you're an Ultra Love, if you're expecting a 2-base all-in, if you're reading a 2-base all-in, then you can try to hard counter by going into Charge, by being able to shut down these tank pushes real fast and real quick. Here we're not seeing any of that. Here we're seeing something more standard. Again, we're expecting Blink. It'd be crazy if we open up Charge on Maganatha. So now the Adept does move out. Blink is going to be on the way. And Ryung is going to be opening up with a Mine Drop. Okay. So the initial heli into Scouts. Wooden Mines are going to be in production. No safety bunker here out of Ryung. Very greedy play here from the Terran player. Especially when you go for a faster CC, it is a little more standard to get that bunker. So mining is going to be denied. Wouldn't mind, the Hellion does go straight to the main. Just walks in. Let's go. Doesn't get much done. Nice control there by NightMare. Very nice control. Shuts down the Hellion. We do see 3-gate Blink Robo on 2 bases, so very safe play by NightMare. I would say that on taking 2 gases as well. I would say that on Maganatha, you can afford to be greedier. You can afford to try to rush into a faster third, but we can see that NightMare is playing very safe. So very safe play. Staying on 2 bases. Ryung heading into the main. Mine Drop is coming in, and NightMare, he does pull away. Thankfully, he does pull away in time. Cleans up the Widow Mines, doesn't lose anything, so very nice defense. One Widow Mine is saved. Same time, Adept say do shade into the main. Oh, that should not have happened. 3 SCV kills. NightMare, he's holding his own. Behind this, we have a 2-on-1 setup. And this time, only 1 Banshee. Only a single Banshee. We're not getting a second Banshee, and we're not getting into Cloak. Instead, a faster add-on swap into Stim. So this is a very different follow-up here compared to game number 1. Here, we're actually prioritizing Stim of all things, going into a more biocentric setup. And from here, we could even go into a 3rd CC. Now we get the safety bunker here on the low ground. Banshee's moving out to harass. And Ryung is building up. So Banshee pokes in, doesn't get any major damage. So far, this Banshee hasn't really paid for itself, is at least keeping NightMare a little bit pinned back, but soon he's going to be able to break out. So we do have a bit of a gateway explosion here. Third base is now being taken. Remember, it was a later third base here from NightMare, so it doesn't have the best economy that he otherwise would, or that a Protoss would otherwise would have in this kind of game state. But if Ryung pushes on 2 bases, NightMare, he's going to be ready. Again, because NightMare was playing so safe, he already has Storm. Storm is finishing up in 10 seconds before his third base is even saturated. Like, that's how 2 base heavy, that's how safe NightMare has been. Like, he's ready for a push. NightMare is ready. Ryung behind this, getting a third CC on the high ground, so thankfully he's actually getting a much faster third compared to last game. Looks like Ryung, he knows that the game isn't going to end anytime soon. He knows that he has to get ready for a longer game instead. So here, Maganatha, we're going to be able to experience the mid game. We're getting there. So Ryung loads up for a double drop. There are spotter pylons scattered about. And NightMare does spot this. And the pylon does its job. NightMare, he's ready for the push. A push that is not coming. And this is where do we now favor Ryung? On the one hand, as we were saying, like NightMare, he is so ready for a 2-base all-in or 2-base pressure and aggression to come his way, but it's not coming. Like, Ryung is taking it slow, drop play, poking in, poking out, expanding, getting a third base. Like, Ryung, he's accepting that the game is going longer, and that's going to punish NightMare for having a late third. Having a later third base. Nice splits. Yeah, very nice spread here. Calm down. Very nice spread here by Ryung. The Storms, they barely do any damage. And from here, he does unburrow back up. And again, there's no pressure, right? There's nothing threatening Ryung to commit up the ramp, but he's going to load up for a Doom drop. Banshee is dealt with. Wintermines and tanks back up. So Ryung only dropping with his bio, with Marines and Marauders. NightMare is out of position. He does move out into the center of the map. And meanwhile, ooh, there's a High Templar. Yeah, there's a Templar. There's a Storm. Ryung, he backs up. Sees the army. He knows he wants none of it. Ryung rotating. NightMare expanding bottom left. Ryung is going to get caught out here. Yeah, he's getting caught out. He should not be here, losing 1 tank. 1 tank goes down. Let's get the hell out of here. Does force a cancel. Has to race back home. Has to race back. Both armies still quite close in supply, but that's still a lot of Storms. Ryung just trying to buy time for some Ghosts. Speaking of 2 Ghosts to join the main army. Okay, got a couple of EMPs. We see both armies, or both players have sort of their armies. They're both trying to keep up with each other. Depending on those Storms, depending on the EMPs, I mean, these fights can go either way. I do lean a little bit more towards NightMare. But again, it comes down to the Storms. As NightMare, he brings everything together. But he's pushing into 7 Ghosts. Unfortunately, no High Templar here. Oh, sorry. I missed it myself. Jesus. I'll snipe the 1 High Templar. There are how many? There are 9 left. Bay is on the way for Colossus. Colossus can actually they can excel in this position just because there are no Vikings, right? There's no Vikings set up here. There's no second starport for extra Viking production. Ryung, he's not ready for Colossus. There's two Vikings. Two Vikings. There is, yeah, just one starport. Oof. Storms are coming in. Ryung getting caught out. Yeah, massive storm. Oh, good. Getting completely caught out. Ay, ay, ay. Ryung, he'll lose everything. All the ghosts go down. The main army as well. They were caught down in the open. The pants were down. The pants were down. Ryung coming in from behind, but the damage has been done. It gets a prism, gets an Archon. Ryung, he can punish these stalkers. True. He's really getting punished though, losing another tank. NightMare does pull away. So there's a bit of a give and take there. You're gonna get looking at use lost tab. You see 5 ghosts went down for 2 Eye Templar. I got an Archon as well. We had a bit of a back and forth. 7 High Templar left, scattered throughout. As Ryung moves down, we can see NightMare moving in. Army's out of position. Ryung, he's racing over. Oh, and he may lose the CC. Trying to repair. Oh no, 2 more volleys. Doesn't quite get it. Saves the base. Ryung, he saves the expansion. He does actually wedge himself in between the armies. Uh-oh. Ryung, he does miss this. Yeah, he does miss the movement. Zealots coming in a bit of a weirder angle. Yeah, High Templar, they're not able to engage. So many Zealots just being thrown away for free. Yeah, so many Zealots go down. Planetary stands strong. That was a bit of a loss there for NightMare, throwing away a lot of charge lots. Only minerals, really, but yeah, not the best engagement, not the best fight. Colossus are now on the way. Getting into this Colossus. There's still only 1 starport. That is very concerning. Sure, we have a fusion core in production, but where is the second? Where's the third starport? This is going to be a power spike, a big power spike for NightMare. Once he builds up those Colossus. Unless Ryung's able to scan. See them ahead of time. Speaking of spots of Colossus, there we go. Does see one, does see the other. From here, he would have to get ready. Ooh, takes out the Prism. Uh oh, bit of miscontrol there by NightMare. Prism goes down. And Ryung has to get the hell out of here. Has to pull away. So does stand in the ground. Does reinforce. Holding his own. We have range that's still in production. Behind this, we should soon be seeing extra starports. Still scanning. There we go. Viking production has begun. But Ryung is maxed out. And how many Colossus are we going to have? Only 2. Okay. In my mind, I was concerned about this 4 Colossus timing, right? I was concerned about the 3rd and 4th Colossus, but NightMare is staying on 2. So the lower Viking count, and there we go. Now here comes the 2nd, the 3rd starport. Again, Ryung, he's getting ready for those starports, for those Vikings. But because the Colossus count is so low, it doesn't actually matter that much that there's so few Vikings, or there's so few Vikings. There's not that many Colossus. Despite that, Ryung getting caught out. So back up. Zealot run by into the 3rd. Does respond. The 2 Eye Templar with the main army. In the Prism. Storms, very nice. Oh god, god. Ryung, he does tank the look. He tanks all the storms. Takes a lot of storms to the face. NightMare trades well. At the same time, another Zelda run by, getting more SCV kills. Takes bottom left and top right. Taking more bases, and Ryung, he has not touched the economy in quite some time. NightMare getting ready for Sky Toss. Here comes that Stargate. Here comes the Sky Toss. So your Vikings are amassing. We have soon-to-be Liberators hitting the field. Ryung is still trying to hit his final form. Oh, nice, very nice EMPs, but the Prism. Prism comes in, storms, they pop off. But I believe those are the only High Templar. And Colossus, they're going to be chased down. No Templar left, no storms remaining. Again, the rest of the Templar are back at home. Zelsa going down. Ryung, he takes the fight. Does take the fight. Here we go. We have a Templar here in the center. The Templar count is quite high, but they're just all scattered throughout the base. As you can see, there are 2 Templar here towards the 4th base. There's a Templar outside of the 5th. Templar here towards the 6th and 7th base. Like, again, Templar, they're all spread out throughout all the bases. They're not with the main army. On the one hand, it's good. It's good to have them spread just because you have them more available and they're not prone to being EMP'd. That's true. But ideally, you do want like a second group of High Templar behind your army. So you have your main armies, High Templar, then you have another pair ready to reinforce, ready when you need them most. So I'm a little bit concerned here about the lack of storms that NightMare has been having in these main fights. Just because the Templar are here, for example, they're just, again, scattered throughout the bases. Nuke on the side defense. Storms coming in. And the storms, they will connect. Oh god, he stands in all the storms. And with that, NightMare, he will take down the expansion. Planetary goes down. Do you have reinforcements coming in? That's a lot of Vikings. Yeah, he gets both Colossus, takes down the Prism as well. But what about the ground army? Yeah, no Liberators. There lives. Ground army is lacking. And NightMare, he's breaking through. He's breaking through. Again, they're observers. It's a section. More goes falling. Expensive losses here for Ryung. He's trying to hold on. Trying. He scans. He wants an observer. Oh no. Oh god. Storms are landing. There we go. Here come the Templar. But now they move in. And NightMare may have just done it. GG gets called. NightMare, he breaks the main army, and NightMare, he ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. We're going to game number 3 again. Who needs multiple High Templar when your opponent just stands in the storms? True, true. Some really rough engagements there for Ryung. We saw multiple times it take all the storms to the face. Some really, really inefficient fights as a result. Likewise, he did have the fusion core. He did have advanced ballistics. That is limited range, but he never really got into his Liberators. He had Vikings ready for the Colossus, but again, typically that's why you want to invest into your fusion core, into your Liberator range, into Liberator production, to be able to have some kind of ground support or some support for your ground army. That wasn't quite there yet for Ryung, and with that, GG. GG, well played. We saw that NightMare did overwhelm, and now we're getting into the ace match, and I'm curious to see what map we load into this time. Game 1 was on Pylon, which favors 2-base play, which Ryung excelled at. Game 2 was on Maganatha, which favors longer games, and NightMare was able to max out and able to embrace that late game army composition. Here, coming into Game 3, we're going to be loading into Ley Lines. Ley Lines, I would say, is one of the more standard maps in the map pool. It's a little bit more down the middle. It's not as aggressive, not as intense as Ultralove or Pylon or Torches, for example. It's not as Mac-oriented as Tokamak or as Maganatha. So again, it's a little bit more in the middle here, and we'll see how, as a result, what do we go for? Could go for anything. Let's go. Let's go. There are certain aspects of this map that come into play once we cut the map in half in the late game, in the ultra late game. That's only if we get there. I don't know if we will. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Ley Lines, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have we have the South Korean Protoss player, we have the blue Protoss representing himself, currently teamless. It is a NightMare. Turning player himself, and here we go. The rest of the bracket that's been progressing, exclamation mark, be in the chat to have a look at the bracket yourselves, as it looks like we already have our qualifying matches. Oh my god. And we'll get into it after this. We'll get into it after this series, because there's a lot to discuss. Again, vindication, or at least validation, what we said earlier. But we'll get there, we'll get there. For now though, we are going to be settling in. We do have our initial openers. NightMare is scouting for proxies here at the 3rd location, moving out towards the 4th bases as well. Meanwhile, Ryung opening up back at home, going for something standard, not moving out with a proxy. But Ryung, once again, 2 games in a row, going for a faster CC, going for something more economic. So economic opener here at Ryung. Meanwhile, again, NightMare just being as vigilant as possible. Oh, going Zealot first. Okay, this has potential. The Zealot is rallied across the map, and we'll see if we let it finish. As this can punish something like this, something like a CC on location on the low grounds. Nah, I canceled. Okay, it does cancel. Doesn't go for it. Cancels the Zealot. Again, that was just in case there was a committed proxy. As you can see, NightMare checked all the nearby 3rd base locations. And 4th bases as well. Did check everywhere. And we'll see if Ryung goes for Banshee play again, if he goes for Raven Harass, if he goes for another earlier stim timing. In general, this map is smaller than Maganatha, so aggression can be more favored at least than on the previous map, so you can be more assertive more early on. I wouldn't be opposed to NightMare going for the same build, to be honest. What am I referring to? If you remember last game, NightMare, he did go for the initial 3-gate into Robo, into Twilight Council, into Temple Archives, into Storm, as he was expanding and getting his 3rd. By the time the 3rd base finished, Storm was finishing up as well. Again, as you mentioned, NightMare last game was playing very safe, and I wouldn't be opposed to that here as well. Oh. Hello. Mr. Tuna. What's going on? As we are rushing into an early armory, into a starport. Now, this could be a couple different things. No show doing anything crazy like going for a Thor drop, but Ryung, he has played mech before. Like, he has embraced mech in the past against Protoss, kind of like Gumiho, and he has had a lot of success with that. So we'll see if he goes into Drilling Claws, right? That's what my mind goes to first, and there it is. Drilling Claws is on the way. So we're not being too crazy here. We're not going full Quanta and going for like a quad Thor drop, which would be amazing, by the way. It's been a while since I've seen the quad Thor drop with the 1-1 time with double armory. But here it is just going to be rushing into Drilling Claws. So we're rushing in. Again, Drilling Claws will allow the Widowmines to burrow faster, and of course to be invisible after they burrow, requiring detection. Unfortunately for Ryung, Robo. Robo's on the way. NightMare, he's going Robo on 2 bases. Again, he's playing safe. He's going for a very safe build here, very safe play, so he will have access to detection. Banshee does move in. Banshee? Sorry, Adept moves in. Doesn't get any damage. Nice control there by Ryung. Does pull away. Checking the vision here, NightMare, he has not gotten into the main base. No sentry. No hallucination. This is a little bit greedy here from NightMare. It is quite greedy. Refusing to make that sentry. Because they posted up here in the main, posted here at the natural. The Widowmine drop is coming in. Ooh. And shots going to be going off. We don't really pull away, so far 2 probe kills and potentially getting even more. Never mind. It's just perpetually, there we go. Gonna bait out the mine shot. Observer has arrived, and this is going to be cleaned up. And so far, this is not worth it for Ryung. Ryung, he invested quite heavily here, going into the armory, going into Drilling Claws, and for 2 Widowmines to kill 2 probes, That is not worth it here. NightMare, he shuts us down from here. He can counterattack. He can move out across the map. He can contain Ryung. And NightMare, he does have a stronger start to the game. Do you see what I see? Charge and a Temple Archives before the third. Like, this is the same build 2 games in a row. And again, this is a very safe build to go for NightMare. So far as excelling. Ryung behind this, going into the Atom Slope into Sim. Sim is on the way. No Banshee, no Raven. Just straight Stim. So this is going to be an earlier Stim timing. But the problem here, if Ryung does plan to commit on 2 bases, losing a Cyclone, is that, again, NightMare, he already has, or he should have Storm done by then. There it is. Storm is on the way. Storm is being chronoed as we speak. And it will be ready. Does pull back. Again, NightMare, his goal here is just contain. Just contain his opponent. Storm is finishing up as well. If Ryung were to push out NightMare, he should be fine. And Ryung is expanding. Here we go. We do have a third base on the way. I do like this double drop. So instead of pushing, which again, I don't think Ryung could pull off, instead of moving out to head on with his main army, does sneak out with a double drop. So far, NightMare, he does not scout this. He does have some spotted units. Here we go. We have a pylon towards the left-hand side. And we have a portion of the army as well, also at the third base. As Ryung is spotted. Oh, good. He is spotted. Ryung has to be so careful here. Storms are coming in. We'll load up and pull away. Here he does pull out. Mind shots going up. I mean, he rotates. Remember, he's got 3 High Templar on that Prism. Holding on to a couple of Storms. I don't think he has to push in, by the way. But the tank's on siege. Yeah, tank's on siege. Oh, NightMare, he has to back up. Again, NightMare, he does not have to fight here. We don't have to engage. NightMare pulls away, spots the load up. He responds. The scan reveals that there should be an observer seeing him. Ryung does unload. Ready for the fight. Armies are posturing. NightMare does outposition. Uh-oh, we're going for the base trade. Yeah, NightMare, he completely outpositions Ryung. Going across the map, does hit the natural. And we're going for the base trade. Let's go. I mean, it's all we can do. We're trading bases. The problem, though, is that NightMare's in the main. NightMare is already pushing into the main base. At the same time, Ryung, he just now hits the natural. Man, does take a massive... Oh, the Storms, no! It takes the Storms to the face. Not like this. The Marine army crumbles. He does at least break into the natural. Widowmines are set. But we have more Storms coming. Oh, God, no. Not like this. More Storms are popping up. They catch out Widowmines, Marines, Marauders. The main base at this point is forfeit. Ryung, he still has some mining going on, but he's supply blocked. Now gets into the main. And the problem here is that in a head-on fight, I favor NightMare. 100%. I do favor him. Storms are coming in once again. Another Storm. Oh, no, he's going for the Rams. Zelta coming from behind, and NightMare, he will completely clean this up, takes on the tanks. The Bio army, he saves the main base. As NightMare, he races back home. And Ryung, he cannot do anything here. GG gets called. NightMare, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on to a qualifying match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. NightMare, he will claim the series 2-1. He will advance on. Congratulations. My condolences here to Ryung. Ryung, he was able to hold his own. Unfortunately, the MVP of this game wasn't the High Templar, it wasn't the Storms, it wasn't the Zealots, it wasn't the army, it was the Observer. Remember, there was an Observer right outside of the Natural that saw the army move out, which saw the army rotations, and he saw Ryung as he moved everything across the map. He saw an opening. Because of that, the MVP Observer gave NightMare all the information he needed to commit to the rotation, commit to the counterattack, commit to the base trade. Okay, more he needs to know. GG, well played. With that, congratulations. NightMare does knock Ryung out of the qualifier. Does knock him out. And now we're getting ready for our first qualifying match. Here we go. Now, up first is going to be another TvP, a very different kind of TvP here, as I do need a moment to set things up.